Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Non-Classics. This is episode number 3206, episode number 3100. First up we have is Witchblade Rebirth Volume 4, which contains issues 166 to 169. This book, in a way, collects the final issues by Tim Seeley. Joshua Franco basically writes the final issue of this book. Yes, he does. So this book contains, like I said, issues 166 and 169. Also, Witchblade, Day of the Outlaw, and Witchblade and Angelus. With the Darkness / Witchblade / Angelus Trinity. Stories in this book are Skeleton, a two-parter known as Absolute Corrupt, a three-part Absolute Corruption. There's the Bios Rebirth, Day of the Outlaw, and Trinity. Yeah, very short. So after the recap of the whole stuff looking for her daughter, yes. So basically, we have where Alice is basically trying to save. After the recap, of course, Alice is back in her room, where she's paid a visit by another client about looking for this one guy, and at this investigating, of course, we see like some weird guy who was weird looking. I'm not going to show what it is because it looks kind of gross. Lots of investigating, eventually, like the witch. And of course, she stops a female suspect by using her witchblade out in public. Now, normally, she tries to keep it a secret, but apparently, like, she has no problem exposing her secret to the Chicago public. After the conversation with her, of course, then eventually, of course, it looked like her own office after she get a check from the client, basically finishes the thing she asked for. And then she wakes up, and of course, her friend is there, Alyssa. And of course, basically, well, see on the news, apparently, like, someone with a witchblade look basically attacking some random women. And then we see one guy following upstairs, looks like she's completely undressed. She basically undressed herself. Presumably, she's leading him to have sex. And then we see the sheriff from the other dimension. She pops up here again. This beautiful woman who Sarah first met in the start of this run. I don't remember her appearing after this because it's been a while since I've read Witchblade. So yeah, and then we see that that Sarah's taking this guy to bed with him. With her, excuse me. We're basically above the Lakefield Theater. And apparently his name is Kane. Or apparently these two had sex. And apparently this guy's got this big tattoo in his chest. Like, look at that thing. Yeah, now I'm showing up basically where Sarah's butt naked. We don't see any, actual nudity. Basically her butt is covered up by the sheet. And of course her chest is not really exposed here. And then afterwards, then she gets a phone call, and then of course there's a guy out of her office, and then we see the neighbor of hers trying to help a kid, who basically tries to strangle the female cop, who's chubby, by the way. Yes, they do explain a character bio that apparently she initially didn't want to be a police officer, but because of her brother, who was a police officer, being turned into a drug addict, she became a police officer despite the fact she had a promising music career. Yep. And then, of course, Sarah's office, the sheriff comes by, proceeds to beat up like 6 guys who are trying to harm her. And I wonder how Sarah feels, basically, like. And then she proceeds to, I think, basically, it looks like she's jumping out the window back first. And then she's saved by Sarah. Then we have this guy pops up again. And then we have the Lady Death person, who then proceeds to look for Sarah by later on taking off her shirt. And apparently her tattoos help her find her. Yes, seriously. The more stuff here. Then much here about the Witchblade. Excuse me. Yeah, and then eventually see the scene where she takes off her shirt and shows off her tattoos, and she gets covered one of her breasts because she's doing it from the side. But apparently she's got like this little dagger thing. Yes. And apparently because she apparently traces of herself on Sarah somehow, and that's how they find her. And then we see where Sarah kisses look like the guy who's there. And then we see this fairy where he's given an Xbox 360 controller. Yes. Those of you curious, how the heck do I know that is a 360 controller? Because I play a 360. That's how I know. As for why he's given it, maybe he wants to play a game. Who knows? Oh, he's playing Halo 4. Yes, Halo 4 was on 360 if I remember correctly. The first 3 games were released on the original Xbox, which I have played. The first game, fun game. I played between class at college years ago. I managed to beat it in a month, and I got halfway the second game, never finished it. But the games themselves are a lot of fun. Yes, I love playing Halo. Halo is amazing. Oh, the name is Katrina. So, like a trap, and eventually, like, yeah, pretty bad. Of course, she's protected by the Witchblade. She makes it to a shield. Trying to stop bullets. Yes, bullets. There's another demon shows up. Eventually, like, she tried to use, and she absorbed the power, and eventually, like, something's going on with her, basically, her Witchblade amulet, and it's not working. This whole thing takes over the city, and then eventually turns into a full-blown riot. Yeah. Well, I guess Tim Seeley wants to end this run in fashion, because this is basically 7169 is technically his final issue in the book. Yep, his final issue. By the way, this is definitely to get killed off in this finale, because she was just introduced in the previous issues. And then we have where Katrina remembers some people from her past. And oh yeah, and she does survive, don't worry about that. And then basically everything ends on a very nice note. And then after they have the character bios on the new characters who debuted in this run. And then we do Day of the Owl. This is by Joshua Hale Belkoff. The first book I was thinking to mind when it comes to this particular writer is I, Vampire. Yeah, the short-lived I, Vampire book. He also did Ultimate FF, the book that came out just prior to Secret Wars. Now, the 3 books that came out had the worst artwork of all 3 books, and anybody can tell by reading that book. Like, no wonder why this book got canceled after only 5 issues, because the artwork was atrocious. It was awful. I may discuss at some point, because the book was... It's not Joshua's fault for that book. It's basically the artwork was terrible. My gosh. Basically, we start off in Western times. We have a woman just drawing a bath for herself. Apparently, this woman is actually the sheriff. I can tell by the braid, she's probably a Native American character, where it's like, yeah, she's about to grab her gun, but nope, can't do that. They claim that she stole the money from him. Nope, you stole the money. Oh yeah, and apparently they finally show what's on her wrist. She is a past host of the Witchblade. Yep, and then she just armors up, beats the guy up, and oh yeah, and by the way, but apparently this priest comes in and sees this, and he runs away, and then she takes the armor, and by the way, she's butt naked. So then she proceeds to put her clothes back on, her pants, her shirt. It's like, don't move, ain't done with you yet, a-hole. Yep, and they solve some town stuff here. I love the whole Western aspect here. We have more, like, demonic creatures here, which is really cool. Like, I think the whole aspect of exploring a Western host Witchblade was really cool. And then we have Trinity, Blood on the Sands, a one-shot. I think this one here is called Daphis. Well, first off, definitely a part one. This probably focuses on the dark, because basically this focuses on the darkness, Angelus, and the Witchblade herself. First out with the Rebirth of the Darkness, we have basically a story involving him. And then we have a story about the Witchblade and eventually the Angelus itself. It's basically more history of the Witchblade, which I think is still really cool. I think the whole purpose of this one-shot is similar to the Tales of the Witchblade mini-series, where just tell a past host of the thing. I thought this was a really cool concept. And that's it. Final thoughts on Tim Seeley's run for Witchblade. This was a very interesting run. Like, if you read the book, if you basically jump the book with this run, you're like, wait, when did she have a daughter? Yes. Or, like, some people probably remember that she had a daughter, and, like, what happened to the daughter? Well, it's explained toward the end of the run what exactly happened here. One thing you can definitely, anybody who look at the publication schedule of this book can probably praise Tim Seeley for this. He brought the book out on time. For about 9 issues, and then the remainder of the book basically went back to its weird publication schedule, because Witchblade had, despite the fact how popular this book is, this book itself yeah, it's like, excuse me, yeah, it's definitely an interesting run. Though, as for the move to Chicago, that part was not really explained in the book. I must miss something here that, oh, she went from New York, I'd be in New York since the first issue of the book, now she's Chicago. Now, yes, I have read these issues already years ago, but never read them before. My memory may be a little slippy when it comes to Witchblade, but I do enjoy this book. I really do. But of course, next time I come back to the book will be a series of trades that will collect the final 16 issues of this book. And I think it was during this era that I actually caught up with the book. When the book was written by Ron Martz. Yes. But I get that trade roughly 8.5 out of 10. Next up we have is Ultimate Black Panther, Volume 2, Gods and Kings. This collects issues 7 through 12 of the ongoing series, Ultimate Black Panther, written by Brian Edward Hill. Artwork by Stefan Cassell, 7 through 9 and 12. Carlos Needless, issue 10 and 11. The cast of this book is Black Panther, Storm, Eric Killmonger, Shara, Okene, Matron Amila, Ra, who remembered the council, and Kazensu, who was a guy, despite the fact in the regular continuity he's basically a skeleton. So most people start with T'Challa fighting up against other Black Panthers, sort of a training thing, and then we have this basically this war going on here, and of course Storm is getting close to Black Panther, but no man take attachment, because basically in this continuity she's basically Eric Killmonger and Black Panther with Okene. Who, little fun fact, did you know under a hypnosis he actually kissed her in the early issues of the Chris Reeves Black Panther run? Yeah, it was completely random. And of course Okene is like, my king, are you okay? And she's asking him this right after he made out with her. And of course he investigated stuff, and also it's shown later on in the book in these issues here that Okene is actually questioning why he's not sharing the same bed with her. Now, Okene in the main continuity is bald. Here, she's got a full head of hair. So after Black Panther's War Council, he continues to do his war with the Moon Knight organization. And that's kind of what goes on here. It's basically showing off his war. Also, Mirat's here, Vision of Black Panther. He's also having nightmares about basically stuff related to the Moon organization. and then like take it from the Source Supreme. And then we see these people here with this these faded out faces. Who these people are, don't know. And then of course Killmonger and Storm break his facility. They go inside and they find practically not much. And then we have the God of the Moon, well, the guy who thinks the God of the Moon preaching everybody, gets around the council. And Black Panther comes out and more craziness ensues. Black Panther eventually goes to New York, chases him, I think it's New York, some city, and proceeds to kill one of the gods. And it's like, oh yeah, God is, yeah. And then his suit's acting really crazy, like it's a symbiote. And then apparently he wakes up where apparently he managed to sleepwalk out of his bed and walk straight in front of his throne and basically woke up in front of his own throne. Which, yeah, that was really weird. And then he goes in an oil tanker where we have Storm with, I don't know who this woman is. I think she's supposed to be a Source Supreme. Yeah, who this woman is. Apparently she is Source Supreme. I think it's implied this might be Agatha Harkness, but they don't really say here. Or it could be Clea. Yep, she's Source Supreme. Apparently her name is Inkana Source Supreme. Yeah, just when I look at the alpha here, reminds me a little bit of Cleus, except this is purple and not blue. Like, yeah, it's like I look at her, especially with this cover out here, next issue. Like, is she supposed to be a representation of the purple woman? Yes, it's like the appearance is based on her, but it's not actually her. And we continue building this war between Wakanda and the Moon Knight organization, which is so really well. Eventually, the issue, the next 12th issue, has it where he defeats the two gods. Excuse me. And, well, by guiding his actions, fights up against the god, and he wins. He's basically about to get, he's stopped by the sorcerer Ian. Is like, you Mr. Choa, I am Ian. Your friends have told me a lot about you. No idea who this moon guy is. But it doesn't matter what matters. You have vibranium problem. And it's not too late to solve everything you believe in. Yeah, so vibranium problem. Okay, interesting. Okay conclusion to this book, but I do enjoy the story overall. I'm going to give roughly a 8.5 out of 10. Yep. So yeah, that's the episode of you. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up is Fire Force. Okay, next video. Bye.